Hi everybody and welcome to today's Heart to Heart. The subject is turning gossip into gold. I hope you enjoy the video. Here you find me, and this is where I've been spending most of my days, in the kitchen. And I'm working on making breadcrumbs today. And I thought I would share with you a heart to heart while I do some chores. It seems like I don't have much extra time these days. My days are always filled with preserving, harvesting, and preparing for the winter time. August and September are huge months for me. In fact, they're my busiest months of the year because this is the time we harvest all that wonderful goodness. But I'm going to share with you something that is going to be different. And I always say this because I feel like I have such different concepts on things. Lately, there's been a lot of buzzwords about trolls and people that have YouTube channels and how they're being attacked with comments that are ugly. And that's for everybody. I think ever since this pandemic hit, things have been worse as far as people giving rude comments. I really believe it's the stress in people's lives or the boredom in people's lives where they can sit behind a keyboard and they can say things about others. But you know, how can we be successful and how can we turn gossip into gold? And I've learned that. For 4 years, I bellyached every time somebody said something mean about me, about my weight or the way I looked or talked. I will be honest with you. There's many videos where I did response videos to what so-and-so said about me. But it's only been in the last 2 months, or maybe 3 months, that I've really taken back and changed my thought on it all. I know I did a video a little bit like this the other week, but it's even more apparent to me, and I'm going to explain to you why. So, as we all know, there are people out there that no matter what you do are going to say mean things. I mean, I have 50 pages of it. 50 pages full of Tessie and canning her meat and cheese and 2-ton Tessie and Tessie does this, Tessie does that, Tessie's in it for the drama. You know, you heard it all because every YouTuber gets it to one form or another. But I started thinking, you know what? Maybe there's something to it all. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like being mocked and made fun of, and I sure don't condone it for anybody else. But have we ever taken a step back and learned to be successful through it all? Okay, so here we go. It's easy to be praised 24/7. Who doesn't want to be praised? Tessie, you do this. Wow, you do that. Sure, it feels good to be praised and feel loved. But can we take the criticism that people say? Now, I'm not talking about the way they say I dress or look or I gained extra pounds in the last couple months, even though they haven't figured out why, because maybe it's because I'm going through a lot of changes in my life. I mean constructive criticism. Even though they mean it for drama, I thought I would flip it around and turn it for good. And here's why. You can take the negative comments that people give you and you can let it rule your life. You can let it destroy your life, destroy your happiness, destroy your channel, destroy all of these things. But can you turn it around and make your channel even better? That is it. That is the key there. And this isn't just for people who have a YouTube channel. Come on. Most of us face it. Most of us know somebody in your life that was really rude to you and mean and very hurtful. But can you turn it around? So let me explain. So let's just say somebody says that you're fat and ugly. And you've heard about this. You know, a lot of people say stuff like that. You become really hurt. You look in the mirror and you say to yourself, I am fat. I am ugly. But you know what? The fact that they're pointing that out tells you the opposite. Because if you were fat and ugly, they wouldn't be bothering to say it. They say it in order to make themselves feel what? Better. So when they say you're fat and ugly, actually they think they're fat and ugly, but because they turned it on to you, it makes them feel better. I've learned this a long time ago, and just recently I decided to take things and twist it. Let's see, turn the tables, and do it in a nice way, of course. So they said some things, and they said some things that I thought were very good points. One of them said about me changing my titles and my thumbnails to get more attention and more views. You know, I thought about that, And I looked from the outside in, and I realized they were right. Another thing they said to me was, they said on their, we know the website, they said about me having a PayPal under my videos. From the outside looking in, they were right. Now, those of you who watch my videos on a daily basis or, weekly basis, you know me, and you know that I wasn't e-begging because you know me. You watch me, you see me every day, but to the new people, they don't know me. They don't have to love me. They don't know anything about me. And I realized they were right. Having a PayPal link under every video did look really desperate, and it was coming across as being an e-beggar, even though I did not mean that whatsoever. In fact, it was not my intentions. When I started my videos, everybody was doing it back then, 4 years ago. Most channels do it. And I even did a lot of research. And there's quite a few channels that have over 100,000 subscribers that do it. But to me, they were right. Now, of course, when they talk about all the things that I do and all that, and they make fun of me, I don't believe in that. But can I turn it around for good? Can I make it become a way that I can become stronger? And it has changed my life. I think the trolls have changed my life almost as much as all of you loving people have. Because in the beginning, I wasn't used to that. I didn't grow up in that way. I grew up in a very sheltered home. And so my home was sheltered. I didn't have a mom that gossiped or was really rude. But then I didn't have a mom that was in the public eye, and I didn't have anybody else in the public eye. So once you're in the public eye, for the world to see, you're going to get some people that don't like you. That doesn't give them reason to say the things they do about other people. It's not just me. But I'm going to tell you a story. My life is full of loving people. I am a magnet for loving people. Loving people like to be around me, and I like to be around them. Simply because I am a happy-go-lucky person. And I have a lot of people who have met me now, and they can say that I am. So the last time we had the food truck, I had 8 people. It was 8 women and 2 husbands. I think it was 10 in all. And they had so much fun. They got to meet me one-on-one, and they got to see how I am, because this is really how I am, and they can tell you that. But there's always somebody in your life, whether it's somebody, that just passes by, or somebody that you know, that's going to be mean to you. When somebody says the word evil to me, I have one person in mind. And this person I've only met a couple times, and I have nothing to do with this person, but this person is a neighbor of mine. And ever since she found out I had a YouTube channel, she's been nothing but evil. She has been rude, mean, slanderous, everything you can imagine. But she's that way to almost everyone, even her family members. I met her a few times and tried to befriend her, but there's just some people who don't want to be befriended. That's just the way it is. And I realize I'm not Mother Teresa. Yeah, it took me 3 years to figure that out? I would go in and think of people that didn't get along with one another online, and I'd get in the middle of it and try to create peace, and in the end time, they came and got at me. They attacked me. I did that 3 times. Yes, I've learned my lesson. I have learned my lesson, but that's just my nature. When people are arguing and bickering, I want to go in there and just see if I can make everything right. It doesn't work that way. Usually not, anyhow. But the latest thing is she made a comment and was saying all kinds of things and saying about things that weren't perfect in my life. She mentioned a very sad time in my son's life many, many years ago and said things like that. And I realized she always says the same thing. And so why am I bringing attention to this? Not because of the drama part of it, because I could care less about that. But I'm bringing attention to it because of something I learned through it all. And that is, she always says, you live in a bubble and you live in a fantasy world. And I guess to her, that was a big diss. In other words, I guess to her, that was something that was supposed to be extremely negative. But I agree with her. I agree with her. I do live in a bubble, and I do live in a fantasy world. And that's exactly what I want to share on my channel. I want to share my fantasy world with all of you. And let me tell you why. And let me tell you why I agree with her. It takes a strong person to say when an ugly person is right. But she is right in that aspect of it. Of course, she's not right in saying about my trailer and making fun of that. Everybody sees my videos, they know how my beautiful trailer is, even though it is a trailer. But I do live in a fantasy world, and let me tell you why. Ever since the pandemic hit, we are going back and forth in a world where we're just going by the motions. We put a mask on, we quick go to the store, we quick come home, we don't linger around, we don't hug people, we don't shake hands, we don't do any of that. Children aren't seeing the smiles on people's faces when we're out in the public. We don't see the human face. The human face is the #1 thing that brings us comfort and can bring us sorrow, but it helps express our souls. And we can't see that anymore. That is a big tragedy of what's going on. It's because we are losing touch of our emotions of our face. And so when I come on my channel and I open up my world to all of you and I turn on my computer, I want to share with you a fantasy world, a world where you don't have your troubles, a world where you can just forget about the outside. That is true. I do live in a bubble, but it's a bubble I created, and it's a happy one. It is a happy bubble. I love the bubble I'm in. I love the world that I live in. Sometimes fantasy is something you read in books, but sometimes you can create it. And not only did I create the fantasy in my life, I did it in my children's lives. Does that mean everything is perfect? Does that mean I don't have struggles with people in life? No, but that means that we create a safe environment, a loving place. I have a beautiful relationship with all of my children and all of their spouses. I have a beautiful relationship with my grandchildren, a beautiful relationship with my husband, because I built those walls of a bubble in my life, because I remain positive and I don't allow the outside influences to destroy my life. And there's where my point is. So many times, especially content creators, they see the outside world and the things that other people are saying, and it destroys their life. They allow it to. And then it destroys their channel because it's destroying and making an impact on their life. I'm here to tell you there's a better way. There's a way to take all of that in and don't listen to it, but turn the tables and make yourself a better person through it. I look in the mirror now when somebody says about me gaining 50 pounds, which was just said not long ago. I look in the mirror and I say, you did gain some weight, Tessie, but you are just as sweet as you ever were. You know, you need to confirm yourself. You need to upbuild yourself. You need to uplift yourself. That doesn't mean you have vanity. That doesn't mean you have a fake love for yourself. That means you love yourself enough to respect yourself. Would I wish that I was thinner? Maybe so. And I was working out on the treadmill and enjoying that in the winter months. But in the summertime right now, it's just so hot. It's over 100 degrees in there. And I work over 12 hours a day, working constantly on my homestead, on my channel, and helping other people now. Now I'm devoting a lot of my time in helping others. And I'm so thankful for that. But you know, people will always say things, and people will always do things that hurt us. But it's up to us to allow it to penetrate into our soul. Nobody can make that happen but yourself. And while maybe I do live in a fantasy world, you know, I take my camera and show you my life I lived here, and to some people that would be a fantasy. But to the people, or to the person who is very rude in my life, even though I don't know her, she could have a fantasy too, but she chooses hate, bitterness, anger, evilness, resentment. You'll never have a fantasy that way. You'll be a life living in pure hell. And I say that word really strongly because I've only ever said that word one other time. But it is. If you choose to focus on all of those things in your life, you will be living in not peace and harmony. You will be living in self-destruction. So I'll continue to live in my fantasy, and I choose to live in my fantasy world for all of you. And you know what? A lot of you have chosen this world as well. It doesn't mean that struggles don't come our way. They do. There's a lot of things that are happening in my life and your life, but that just means that we look forward and we look up and not look down or back. I hope I said something that resonates in you today, and I hope that you are feeling uplifted today, because that's the only point of all of my videos. No matter what the titles say, they all always have a positive message behind them. This was today's heart to heart, and I hope you took it to your heart. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. And that's a promise.